hit him with the frog splash. I was like, I've never done a frog splash before. He's like, well, I just started looking at videos of how Eddie used to do it, and it kind of just came together.
Hey, it's Chris. Thanks for being with us on this one. Please hit subscribe if you haven't yet, and let's see if we can get this video to 3,000 likes. When I say third generation superstar, who immediately pops into your head? Is it The Rock, Randy Orton, Natalya, Bray Wyatt, Curtis Axel? Maybe now it's Dominik Mysterio. And while you think of that, I gotta thank Tiege Hanley for sponsoring this video. And they've been a part of my skincare routine for the last year or so I am so pumped to partner up with them. I'd say there's two main reasons that most guys don't have a skincare routine. Number one, they'll say, it's too expensive. Well, Tiege Hanley has cut out the middleman so they can sell directly to you at super affordable prices, starting at just 25 bucks. Number two, guys will say, I don't know how this skincare thing works. I wash my face with the same thing that I wash the rest of my body with.
Are you looking at your balls? Yeah, not cool. You can look at them.
Well, Tiege Hanley takes all the guesswork out of this by telling you exactly what to use and how much of it to use. It goes like this. It is 1, 2, 3. It's wash, that's first thing in the morning and last thing at night. Twice a week, you're gonna do the scrub, which is actually my favorite day of the week because it smells incredible and leaves your face feeling like all tingling. After that, you'll use the moisturizer, AM moisturizer. Yeah, you use that in the morning, how'd you guess? And then you'll use the PM moisturizer. It's in the PM, you'll use that. It's that simple. And that really explains it right there. Uncomplicated skincare for men. And because Tiege Hanley is sponsoring today's video, if you click the link down below the video, they will hook you up with this free toiletry bag. And you can get started for just $25. What are you waiting for? Stop washing your face with the same thing that you wash the rest of you with. It's such a pleasure to be chatting with you. So Dominik, thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
I like your shirt. That must be your favorite wrestler, right?
One of them, top 5.
Top 5. Rey Mysterio, yeah, top 5. What a last handful of months for you. Like what a ride you've been on. Are you able to step back and realize how insane this is right now?
Definitely. At first, it was kind of, I was on cloud 9 for I don't know how long. I like realizing from my debut at SummerSlam to just continuously being on Raw every week. It's been unimaginable, like a dream come true for me. So I'm very grateful, and it's been hard to kind of step back and look and enjoy and be able to have fun with it. But yeah, it's definitely been a ride, man.
Like not very many people get to debut at SummerSlam and against Seth Rollins. Like that's crazy.
hmm It was definitely I've said it before, when my dad first told me that was how it was gonna happen. I thought he was ribbing me. I was like, get out of here. It's a joke. Like, okay, yeah. But then he was like, no, 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 like this is serious. People in the back started telling me, like higher ups telling me that this is the direction they wanted to go. So I had to mentally prepare myself and be like, all right, like let's do this. It's time to go.
So if we take a step back, when did you start training?
I first started training, I want to say late 2018 or yes, because I graduated high school in 16, and I started training a little bit after that. So early 18, late 17 is when I started training. And just I started training here in San Diego with my dad and Conan. And that was for about maybe I want to say 4 or 5 months, learning the basics, rolling, that mostly rolling with them. Like I can't tell you how much I rolled with them. Just the bumps. And then from there, I moved to Tampa Bay, and I did 3 months with Jay Lethal at Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling. And then once I finished there, I came back home for another 3 months, and then went out to Calgary to Lance's to Storm Wrestling Academy for another 3 months there.
Wow. Okay. So the people you've been trained by, that's insane. So you've been trained by Rey Mysterio, Conan, Jay Lethal, and Lance Storm. Wow.
Yes, and when I came from Lance's, I found my home here in San Diego, which was Level Up, and I've been training with local indie wrestlers and big names like B-Boy. He's awesome, and I've had guys like Phoenix come in and help me out. You know, a lot of guys from down here in San Diego. So it's been tremendous, and I'm very grateful and thankful.
So when you're the son of Rey Mysterio, is the plan, is the goal the whole time like, I'm going to follow in my father's footsteps. I'm also going to be a pro wrestler?
Not all the time. I feel like it was all because since I was a kid, I played soccer and football since I was 8 years old. That was the main focus. And my high school never really had, they didn't have a wrestling team. So it didn't really, I'm sure if they had a wrestling team, I would have loved to have tried out, but they didn't have any of that. So focus was always football and soccer. But I was always a big fan of wrestling, had to have all the action figures, needed all the t-shirts, kept up with everything that was going on, had all the titles that said Dominik on them. So I was always a big fan and I always had wrestling in the back of my mind. But I never actually tried it. So when I tried it for the first time and stepped in the ring, it was a different kind of love and passion for the sport that I had for it. So it was an immediate love.
Did being part of that, a lot of people obviously know you from the storyline, the paternity storyline with Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. Did being involved in that make you love wrestling even more?
Now that I've given it some thought, I think so, because that really made me love and appreciate like the industry and everyone in the back. And I personally enjoyed traveling from city to city with my dad, like those long car rides with him and going to the airport in the mornings and being able to fight for the window with him so I could be able to sleep. But like I personally enjoyed all that. So I think in the long run it definitely did nudge me a little bit more towards being able to start wrestling.
So what's your first wrestling memory that you have?
First wrestling memory that I have is my dad getting hit in the head with the guitar by Jeff Jarrett. That's the
Were you there for
first.
that?
I was not there. I was watching it on TV, and I had remembered because everything else as far as wrestling is a blur, but that's the first like thing that I remember. And I remember it was Jeff Jarrett because I remember the yellow glasses and I remember him just wailing my dad. And I remember freaking out, asking my mom if he was okay. And she was like, we'll know in a little bit. Like, relax, it's okay. But yeah, that's my first memory. My dad getting hit in the head with the guitar by Jeff Jarrett.
Wow. So what's the first event that you went to in person?
Um, There's a lot of local events that I went to in Tijuana at the auditorium, Fausto Gutierrez. So that one, I went to those back in the day when I was a kid. But first one that I remember was probably in Anaheim when my dad first came to WWE. He was feuding with Matt Hardy at the time. So I remember I had all the Rockaware with the side visor and but yeah, I think that was my first SmackDown WWE event, my first wrestling event. It was
And then,
yeah.
I mean, not long after that, you're part of this gigantic storyline. So you're on the road, and then there's this huge storyline of who's your dad? Is it Ray or is it Eddie? What's it like going to school when you've just been on national television, international television the night before?
There wasn't much school. That's probably why I loved it so much because in third grade, I was in third grade at the time, and I had to take my homework with me. I wasn't in class half the time. My dad would have to come in and explain to the teacher like what was going on, what I was needed for. But when I was in school, it was kind of like I had to like explain to kids that who my dad was, and because kids would always ask me, who really is your dad Eddie Guerrero? Or is it Rey Mysterio? Like who's your dad, Dom? And I'd be like, well, I'm pretty sure it's Rey Mysterio who's my dad. But yeah, I always had to explain myself on who my dad was.
Do you remember like being on set with Eddie? Because you would not just stuff in the ring, you filmed other stuff like behind the scenes with him too.
hmm Yeah, I remember doing vignettes with him. The one here at the park. Apparently, I don't remember which park it was, but it was a park around here. And but I remember that very vividly. There was other kids playing at the park, and after every take, Eddie would offer me candy, whether it was Twizzlers or Red Vines. But he would always have candy for me ready. He'd be like, "You ready to go?" I'd be like, "Yeah, uncle, let's do it." And give me some candy, and we're off.
Being a West Coast guy, you're obviously a red vine person. Ooh.
Yes, my dad's always been a Twizzler person. So unless they don't have Twizzlers, he'll go Red Vines. But I'm, yeah, I'll go with Red Vines.
It's like it's such a like it's a real debate. And people that are in the UK listening to this right now are like, oh, what do you mean? What's a red vine? But yeah, red vines and Twizzlers. That's a real debate.
Yeah, I mean, I personally enjoy both, but if I had to pick one, I'll go Red Vines.
What are some of the best memories that you have of Eddie Guerrero?
There's so many. There's times where after house shows, he would come over to the house. My mom would basically force him to come over, and spend the night because she didn't want him to spend any money staying at a hotel or anything. She wanted him to be in like the comfort of our home because he was like best friends with my dad. So I remember waking up in the mornings and having like breakfast burritos with him. I remember one time after a Hall of Fame, I don't know if you remember the PSPs that back in the day.
Yeah.
I had one of the first ones that came out, and he bought me like FIFA '04 or something for it. And I remember I was super excited, and I still have it in my PSP, and it's there. So that memory of Eddie will always be with me.
Have you seen the memes of like Rusev debuted recently or Miro debuted? He has blonde hair. Have you seen the meme where it's like Dominik grew up and this is what he looks like now?
Yes, I wish I was as big as Miro, but but yes, no, my dad showed it to me and I cracked up. I laughed. It was awesome. I don't know, everyone's telling me to bring back the bleached hair, but I don't know.
Have you
I feel
thought
like
about it?
I have, but I feel like I'd be more of a meme than taken seriously.
Was there talk about putting a mask on you?
There's still talks about it. So we would like to eventually get into the tradition of lucha libre, which would be putting a mask on me and taking on the name. But I think that's all down the line in the future. But now everyone kind of knows my face and what I look like, and the idea of wearing a mask is to hide your identity, to be able to go out to places and stuff like that. But I think I could find a unique way of bringing the mask into my character.
So when you say take the name, would you also be Rey Mysterio?
I don't know. We have thoughts. Well, my long goal would be Prince Mysterio for me,
Oh.
since Ray in Spanish is king. So for for my character, it'd be Prince Mysterio. But
Ah.
I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
So when you started training, what was the plan here? I mean, obviously you got the best of the best situation debuting at SummerSlam, debuting against Rollins, but like was the plan I'm going to go work the indies for a few years, make a name for myself and figure it out from there?
We didn't have a set plan. We knew that the end goal would be to eventually be signed to WWE and be in WWE. I never had any intention of it. All happened so fast. The opportunities presented itself, and but yeah, the idea was to get some independent work, start building my name a little bit, eventually make it down to WWE, start training at the PC, but everything just happened so fast. And just they gave me the ball and I started running with it. So
So is that literally your first match ever?
that was literally my first match ever, SummerSlam. I have had like practice matches with like Lance and other students at Storms, but first official match was at SummerSlam against Seth Rollins.
Wow. Wow. Well, it completely makes sense then when you shared that moment with Vince that was recently put online, where he was basically like he seemed very proud of you. And he's known
Yeah,
you since you were a kid. What did that moment mean for you?
it meant the absolute world to me. Like I'm getting chills like right now, you just telling me. It was surreal. Seeing everybody, like a lot of superstars, my dad, Eddie, seeing guys like that get that hug and that embrace from Vince, and actually like me getting an embrace from him and getting, those sweet whispers as they call it. It was surreal, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity, and it was a night I'll never forget.
So, I mean, that wasn't that long ago. It's crazy to think your debut was about a month ago, and
Yeah.
then you're on every week. Now this has become a family affair. So,
Yeah,
how did your
yeah.
sister get worked into this?
So I don't really know. I think the idea was pitched for her to like come on and like kind of help me and kind of be part of the story and help motivate me. And then it kind of just turned into a whole nother let's all beat Murphy with the kendo stick.
Well, you got to get some payback with that kendo stick because that looked pretty bad.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. It wasn't
Yeah.
fun.
So when you're taking these kendo stick shots from Rollins, at what point do you go, all right, this is really actually starting to hurt? Because those things don't tickle.
So I had never actually been hit with the kendo stick before. I always I always had one in my room because I loved them. I just, as a kid, I always loved the idea of a kendo stick, watch Sandman, the whole deal. So I always had one and had my dad like give me little love taps, but I never actually got hit with one. So when Rollins laid that first one in, I immediately knew it was going to be a long, long segment. And they just kept coming, and they hurt more and more. I did it like, it was at the point where it was like, all right, my body just kind of numbed out.
Autohéros, achetez votre voiture en ligne et profitez chez vous.
Man, yeah, it looked bad. How long till the bruises and welts were finally gone?
Surprisingly, in like a week, like my
I can
body.
relate. So I went to Sean Spears and Tyler Breeze's wrestling school. They gave me 20 chops. It was a
I
lot.
actually saw your video.
Oh my God.
I
Wow. That's
watched that.
crazy that you saw that. And you're probably like, this guy is insane. Why is he doing this? I had a lot of when your photos came out after the kendo stick, I was tagged in a lot of those photos. They're like, do you think this is worse than what you got? I'm like, oh yeah. What Dominic got is far worse than what I got.
Yeah, I've gotten the top line before, and it's bad. And also, I'm sure you felt it. Your chest went numb after a certain amount of them, and it was just like you were taking them at that point. But yeah, no, that kendo stick was definitely. I wouldn't say the same, but it's the stinging sensation of what the chop line is. But yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, looked real bad. Oh. When you look at the entire landscape here of possible opponents in WWE, who are some dream matches for you?
Um, I've always said Randy Orton just because I've always been a big fan and I love his style of work. Um, but I think dream matches would, besides Randy, someone like Andrade. I think me and him would I just wrestled him very briefly on Monday, him and Garza, but I would love to get in there a little bit longer with Andrade, Garza, Umberto. I'd love to go one on one with Umberto. I think that would be absolutely phenomenal. If I could, someone like Edge, some of the big names. I would love to. I've worked Seth. I would love to wrestle Roman. I think that'd be fun as well. But there's so many guys in NXT like Adam Cole, guys like Austin Theory. There's so many people I'd love to work with. But we'll see what the future holds.
Do you think a match with your dad is something that you'd want to do?
Yes, most definitely. I think that'll be that's still a long time from now, but I remember all the spankings he gave me as a kid, so I'm sure our match will come.
How close do you think your dad is or was to retiring? Because there were whispers of that.
Um, I don't think he's been close to retiring yet. He's always felt really good. He's as you guys know, his left knee has been through multiple surgeries, and other than that, he's still going. And I always ask him because he'll jump in the ring with me and train. And I'll ask him like, "Hey, how you feeling? You feeling good?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, feel great." And I don't think he's gonna call it quits anytime soon, you know?
With great respect to your father, at what age were you when you became taller than him?
I think I was 13, 13 or 14.
Wow.
What, yeah, coming out of yeah, 8th grade going into high school. I was already like taller than
And now what are you, 6'2"? Is that how tall you are?
6'1".
Well, you're wrestler 6'2". We'll call you 6'2" then.
Thank you,
And
appreciate it.
so in all the family photos, like you're the one standing in the back now. It's usually the kids that are, in the front, but I guess you'd be standing in the back.
Yeah, they got me in the back so I don't cover anybody.
Where did this height come from? Because like your mom's not that tall, your dad's not that tall.
Yeah, it's weird because I got it all from my mom's side. Because my dad, his mom is like 4'8", and his dad is like 5'3", 5'2", so they're not very tall. And he has four brothers, and all his brothers are like 5'5", 5'6". But my mom has one brother who passed away when he was 18, and when he was 18, he was already like 6'4". And my mom's mom has six brothers, and all six brothers are above 6'2".
Wow. Okay, well,
So I
there it
think,
is.
yeah, I think that's where I got the height from.
It's difficult to be in the position that you're in because I think a lot of kids whose parents are just pro wrestlers in general, not legendary pro wrestlers like your father. I think a lot of them go, that's his thing or her thing, and they're going to do that, and I'll go live my own life. It's difficult to be in the position that you're in because people are going to constantly compare you to your father. That's obviously got to be a decision that you made before you got into this.
Yeah, it was I knew I was gonna get compared and people were gonna expect a certain thing from me. But I was always given great advice from my coaches, from my dad, other wrestlers, to not let those things get to me, but to just be me and put in the work and let my work speak for itself. Because at the end of the day, I'm the one going out there and busting my ass to do all this. So I think like it's very important for me to be able to be great for them. But I think it's also hard to not be compared to my dad because it's also hard for me to do certain things that my dad does because the height difference. So there has to be a little differences here and there still.
Yeah. How hard is it for you to do a 619?
Not very hard because it was like me jumping into it. I have long legs, so if I time it correctly, my legs just swing by, and it's perfect because I'm left-handed. So when me and my dad do it, it's in perfect sync. So it was really cool that I could do it from the left side.
And then when did you decide you wanted to put the frog splash in here as, tribute to Eddie?
When I hit the frog splash on Brock, we were in the back talking about what we could do if something presented itself, and my dad was like, "Hit him with the frog splash." I was like, "I've never done a frog splash before." He's like, "Well, I just started looking at videos of how Eddie used to do it, and it kind of just came together." So from there on, we were just like, "Yeah, I'll hit the froggy." So now it's the Eddie, it's the Eddie frog splash.
So you didn't even go in the ring and do this with a crash pad or something like that?
No,
The first frog splash you hit was on Brock Lesnar.
yeah, the first time trying it too.
Do you realize how insane this sounds?
Yeah, no, it trust me, when my dad was like, "Hit a frog splash," I was like, I've never even like I've jumped off the turnbuckle, like, when we in training did the macho jump down, but never like actually like did a frog splash or anything. That was the first time trying it.
Wow.
First time swinging a chair
Well,
too.
this is crazy. You're experiencing a lot of firsts in WWE that
Yes.
most people are doing, in front of a small crowd on the indie scene. This is insane that you're able to do this.
It's been crazy, like, looking back at this now, I'm learning as I go, like, this is all everything that I'm doing as far as on Raw and everything is all first for me. So I'm learning as I go.
Who has inspired the ring attire that you wear?
I think it's been a mixture of like me and my dad kind of designing it because we wanted to keep the traditional Falcons in there, but we wanted to put like a unique twist to it. So we tried doing the Falcon with like the question mark and making it a little unique. But I think down the future, I'll always be like my dad, different colors. I'll change the outfit, keep people surprised, having them wonder what colors I'm gonna wear this week or if I'm gonna be wearing a different outfit. So I think that's what makes the Mysterio name a mystery.
Yeah, your dad has so many like iconic different, different ring gear. Do you have like a closet in your house that's just all of his masks and all of his ring gear?
Not a closet. We have a whole uh oh hey dad. Sorry. We have a whole little outhouse for his outfits. Like just like not a closet. He has a whole basically a bedroom just for his stuff. It has
Oh my gosh.
drawers of masks, outfits everywhere. It's just it's crazy.
Wow. Okay. Is that him?
That's him. Yeah, he just walked in.
Oh, hey. I know
He
he
has
can't
no
hear me because you have headphones in.
Yeah, he has no mask, but he just
Oh,
wanted to say
okay.
hi.
Well,
Sorry
hello,
about
Rick.
that.
That's a pretty good cameo to have in the interview. So, what's your favorite of his masks?
My favorite, I'm a big fan of the one that Kevin Nash took off of him, the black one with the it had like rainbow detailing on the inside. That's always been that's one of my favorites. I would steal it as a kid and keep it in my room, and he would need it for interviews because that it was right after it happened, so people would ask him about it and he'd have to pull it out, but I would always steal it and keep it in my room. So that one's one of my favorites. The Halloween Havoc outfit, I would always put that on and have the ripped mask and just run around the house with it. That one's a classic as well. The Superman outfit he used in ECW, or the Batman one as well. Those are He just has like the classic WCW outfits that he used to wear. Those are basically all my favorites.
Yeah, you have some masks. I think is there one or two on the shelf behind you there?
Yeah,
Two.
there's a
Do you
couple
know? Do you
there.
know the significance of those?
Um that the silver, I don't know if you can see it, but
Yeah, yeah.
that silver one is like a Louis Vuitton Supreme that cuz he loves his Louis. So he likes making like special masks that he can like wear for special occasions. So that silver is like a mixture of like the Santos silver with like the red LV Supreme, which is really cool.
Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing looking at you and thinking of how much you look like your dad.
Yeah, that's a lot of people say, and they didn't understand how we could go through with the storyline because they were like, if you've seen Ray in WCW and Mass, they're like, you look just like
Yeah. Like if you put a mask on, I feel like you guys would just be twins.
him.
Although, do people think you look not everybody's seen your dad with his mask off, but do people think that you look more like your dad or your mom?
No, you're one of the few that says I look like my dad. 9 out of 10 people would say I look like my mom.
And now your mom's part of the storylines too. This is
Yeah,
great.
yeah, and the whole gang's in it.
You guys just all fly over together, for the tapings
Yeah,
or for the shows?
the way when WWE was running shows out of the PC, we would fly in a day early. So we'd fly Saturday, get tested Sunday to work Monday. But they're having the test here at home for us in San Diego now, so we'll go and we'll get tested Thursdays to have results Friday. So we have Saturday off and then we fly out Sundays. So it makes travel easier.
And you've done all this. You've had all these great moments without a crowd. You must be so excited. Whenever that ends up happening, you must be so excited to be able to perform in front of a crowd.
I think that'll definitely be interesting because I like my first performance was without a crowd. So like I debuted in a weird era of wrestling. Um, but I think I just want to hear the reaction, when I first come out or to the first match when I have in front of a live crowd. I just want to hear that reaction. I think that'll be another day to remember.
How cool is it going to be when you hear a 619 chant for the first time?
I'll probably shed a little tear and hope I don't mess it up.
Walk me through what's going on in your mind as you're backstage and you're about to go out there, your music's about to hit, and you're about to wrestle Seth Rollins for the very first time.
I think I was more nervous like to the hours leading up to it because like I started warming up and I felt like this may sound weird, but I didn't feel a thing. I was just ready and I was ready to have like to finish the task at hand. Like I knew what had to be done. I knew that eyes were on me. I loved the pressure and I just knew I had to go out there and perform. So I was like in game mode. But before that, like hours before, the night before I couldn't sleep, freaking out all night. I woke up, I got like 3.5 hours of sleep. I woke up, was watching nonstop film because I wanted to make sure that like I knew whatever would happen, I wanted to be prepared. I was shaking all day, like I had too many Red Bulls, like freaking out. But when it came down to it, I was ready.
Wow. Everyone was so impressed with your debut. And I'm sure you
Thank you.
saw the reaction online. It's like, I guess the people thought the bar was low. They hadn't seen you perform before. And then you go out there and you guys put on an incredible match. What did it mean to you to start to see those really positive reactions from people?
Well, first of all, thank you very much. I appreciate that. But like I've said, it was surreal. I didn't. The people didn't know what to expect from me. They just saw the 619 and the splash from when I hit Brock, and they saw me, getting my ass thrown around all over the ring from them. So they had just seen those little things. They hadn't actually seen what I could do. So I was excited to be able to go out there and perform and put on the show. And I remember the first thing I asked my dad after the match was, "How was it?" Because I wanted to make sure that I performed to the best of my abilities, and people were happy. And sure enough, people were really happy about it, and I was really happy about it. The fact that Vince and Seth and my dad and everyone was really happy with the match made me really happy, and I was able to sit back and enjoy and be proud of myself.
So when you asked your dad, how's the match? What did he say?
Um, I don't know. He said you effing killed it, and I was really happy.
Oh, that's so great. Wow. Have you talked to Lance since your debut?
Yeah, yeah, we talk all the time. He usually texts me after my matches, giving me some feedback, and I text him as well. Because the more feedback I get, the better. I'm not the type of person to like if I do something wrong, I don't want to hear it because I know what I did. No, I'd love to hear what I can, you know, what I did wrong, what I can do better, how I can better myself, how I can make my opponent look better, things like that. So I love getting feedback. And Lance is one of the best to critique and give me my feedback to my matches because he's actually worked with me. So he'll send me like long paragraphs of what I can do better and what I can work on and once you're at SWA, that's a family.
So how many times have you watched that SummerSlam match back?
Well, right after we got to the hotel super late, I watched it twice right after that. And then I would probably say total like 20, 25 times just
That's
to
great.
yeah, just to keep critiquing myself. And
Yeah.
th-
Is,
I, I
is
keep
there a
I keep finding little things that I could do better. So
is there a certain point in the match where you're just like, oh, I wish I had done that a different way?
Uh, yes. There's certain things like I kept messing with my hood too much. Um, but again, a lot of people don't know the story of the hoodie. When we had originally planned to make the outfit, the hoodie was supposed to be detachable. So when I'm in the ring, I can rip it off. But Hayashi, the guy who made the costume, Masahiro Hayashi, he got overexcited and he forgot to make it detachable. So he just stitched it all in there. And we called him. We were like, "Hey, actually, you forgot to make it detachable." And he's like, "I know, I'm sorry." He goes, "I got overexcited." So we had to make it work. And I went in there with the hoodie, but I wish I didn't keep messing with it. But it is what it is.
So is the same guy that makes your dad's masks the same guy that's making your gear?
Yes, he's made my dad's outfits for almost 18 years now, or a little over 18 years.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, their story
Wow.
on how they met is crazy. He brought an outfit to my dad in Japan without my dad even knowing. They never met, and it fit my dad to the T. And from there on, they clicked.
Wow. What would you say is the best advice that your dad's given you that you still hold with you, whether it's in the ring or outside of the ring?
In ring, slow down always. That's the best advice. From everyone that I've talked to, everyone always tells me slow down. So that's always the best. But I don't know. My dad's given me so much advice outside of the ring. I think one of the more important things that he said to me is worry about the people that care about you, whose their opinions are what matters most. He goes, because everyone else has their opinion and they can think what they want. He goes, but the people that care for you and that love you are gonna tell you exactly how it really is.
Mm. And since you've debuted, I'm sure you're going out in public and people are like, "Oh, I recognize you. You're Dominik Mysterio."
Not really, because the mask and I wear like glasses, so like people don't really like recognize me. But when I'm eating or like they see like the El Misterio tattoo, then they'll be like, "Oh, you're Dominic Mysterio." So it has been a little more than usual, and I'm still kind of getting used to it, but it's a cool feeling.
With the tattoo there, do you and your dad share any tattoos?
We share our ribs. We both have. He has a prayer, and I have a Bible verse.
Oh, nice. And look, your arms have much more room. You're like your dad when he was in his 20s.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm sure.
he
I'm
didn't
sure
have a
by
lot
the
of
end of my
ink.
career,
Is that the plan?
I don't know. We'll see. I don't like tattoos unless they have sentimental value to me. So I don't want to just put some random stuff on there and then like have three kids or something and be like, man, I don't have any room for my kids. But yeah, no, I think like eventually, if the tattoo is correct and the artwork is correct, I think it'll eventually make its way on here.
So if we look ahead, not just with tattoos, but if we look ahead with everything in your career, what are the plans? What not plans, but what are the goals or what are the hopes that you'd love to do?
I think the main goal is to be able to take the Mysterio name to another level, which is crazy to think about because my dad is he's revolutionized wrestling. He's pioneer. He's taken the Mysterio name to he's made it worldwide. So the fact that I would try to take it to another level, to the next level, is is probably some people probably think it's crazy or it's unattainable or it's a dream, but that's that's the goal. I want to be able to do movies, TV shows, just I don't know. I just want to take the Mysterio name to another level.
Well, your dad was a world champ. Is that something that
Yeah,
you want to be?
that's most definitely, world champion, whether it's uh, with Drew on World Heavyweight or the Universal. I think that would be awesome. Or even I think sentimental value, maybe the cruiserweight or the 205, just out of sentimental value because my dad was one of the best cruiserweights to ever do it. Or even the Intercontinental. I think that's one of the best titles in my opinion, just because of the history behind it. But yeah, I think that would be end goal would also be being a world champion or a tag team champion with my dad.
When we look at that match with your dad and Eddie Guerrero, the ladder match for for the custody of you, what do you remember from that?
I remember Eddie being upset at the end because of timing issues. We were in the back and he was like throwing crap and like hitting stuff. And my dad was like, no, it's okay. Like it happens. And I was like, but is he good? Like, is he okay? Did I do anything wrong? Because I remember I had to shake the ladder and I
Yeah.
was told not to shake it too hard because I didn't want to knock him off. So I remember I kind of just moved myself and didn't move the ladder. So I thought maybe I moved it too hard or something. And then I also remember the social worker, I guess it was, that wasn't sitting next to me. She kind of gave me like the iggy of when to jump over the barricade to go and shake it. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, like little things like that that I remember are always going to be special to me.
When you had those moments early on, I mean, you were 6, right? Were you 6 when that
I
happened?
I was like 7 or 8, 7 maybe.
Yeah. So when you're 7 or 8 and you're in a WWE ring during a pay-per-view, are you like, this will be me one day? 15 years from now, this will be me.
Never thought about it that way. I was just, where are we having dinner? Like what are we gonna eat next? I never in a million years would I have thought that I would, share the ring with my dad or even follow in his footsteps. So I'm very grateful for the opportunities, and I'm very blessed to be able to be in the position that I'm in.
There's so many other third generation superstars that you're doing the same thing as them. I mean, just off the top of my head, Randy Orton, The
Hmm.
Rock, like this is pretty good company to be in.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And I'm very thankful and I'm very blessed. It's just been surreal.
So, what is your favorite wrestling match of your dad's?
I was a big fan of the Cyber Sunday he did with Fit Finley, I think in October 30. I don't remember if it was the 30th or the 31st. But that I thought that was a great match. They did like I think a stretcher match, and I love those Cyber Sundays. I thought those were so unique and so cool. Even though I don't know if the fans actually did end up picking the stipulation for the match. I always thought they did.
I'm sure they did.
They did. But that match stands out to me. I love that match. His first Super J Cup in Japan with Psychosis, they tore the house down. They did every lucha move in the book, and they absolutely killed it. Um, I would say I loved his match, and even though it didn't get to the finish, his match with Sabu at One Night Stand. That I thought that if they were able to finish that through, I think that would have been one for the books. Even it already is, since they only, I believe, worked once with each other. Um, Also his WrestleMania 22 moment against Kurt and Randy. That it's just such a great match with storytelling and physicality and everything. It's just so good. And of course, I can't forget his 97 Halloween
This is like a best of. We should just make a DVD right now.
Havoc.
What's your favorite match that doesn't involve your dad?
Oof. Mm, I was a big fan of watching Steamboat and Ric Flair. Humongous fan of what I also loved watching Shawn Michaels. I think Shawn and Razor Ramon. That was that first ladder match. So good. I just love the way that Shawn only throws one super kick, and that's it. I love the fact about that. Eddie and Edge tore the house down as well for their Intercontinental feud back in the day. Eddie and RVD as well. Um, I loved watching Dean Malenko and Benoit. But there's so much. I can go on forever.
Now I feel like I need to turn on the network right now and watch all these matches. They're all so good. Man. Which stipulation match are you most excited to be a part of one day?
Oh man, I don't know. I think a ladder match would be fun. The thought of a ladder match is fun, but I'm sure being in it is has its repercussions. But I think that would be really cool, because my dad and Eddie had a ladder match, and I loved watching the Hardys, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian go at it in their ladder matches. I grew up watching that, so I think that would
Yeah.
be really cool to be in a ladder match.
When you were backstage as a kid, who was like in your inner circle, or who was like, Dom, there you are. It was good to see you, man.
A lot of the boys in the back were always really cool with me. I remember Edge would help me make like tape balls, and we would throw them in the back, or he would go around and we'd be pegging people. Um, I was always hanging out with Tony Chimmel's kids and Chris Benoit's kids, David, and we would steal the BWO's little blue tricycles, and we would be all around the arena just you know, wrecking havoc and going through catering, stealing cookies, and then be on our tricycles again, until they needed them for showtime, and we would get stopped. But yeah, everyone was just so nice and so kind. I have so many good memories with a bunch of wrestlers, and even the Miz he always booked me as a kid because he would always come up to me and be like, "Who's your favorite wrestler?" And I'd always tell him, "Not you," but he would always be like,
I
so,
had David Benoit on the show earlier this year, and he's now training to be a wrestler. So,
"Oh, really?"
yeah. So we could see maybe one day Mysterio versus Benoit.
I'd love that. I think that in itself is a historic generational match because that's so cool. I haven't talked to David in a while, but we've communicated when I was at Storms because I believe he lives in Edmonton, and
Yes.
that's a 3 hour drive from Calgary. So we communicated and we've talked before, and we were I would like to say we were good friends back in the day because our parents would always take us out to dinner together. We would go eat at Rainforest Cafe and go to dinosaur museums together. So it was really cool, and I'd love to eventually work with him one day.
Maybe one day. Also, Rainforest Cafe is awesome.
It is the best.
It is. Look, I'm just so happy that you shared some of your time with me here, and you're just such a talented but super humble young man, and
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate that.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I learned from the best. My dad always told me to work hard and stay humble, so I just try to follow in his footsteps in every way that I can.
There's really no one better to learn from.
I agree.
Thank you so much, Dominic.
No, thank you, Chris. I really appreciate you for having me.